Hi! You probably know these LEGO sets here. What's so specific about these three is they are motorized. I put LEGO motors in these LEGO sets. I will talk about that in a moment, but what I want to talk about today is this little darling here. The LEGO 10300 Back to the Future Time Machine. Finally, a proper DeLorean. I will talk a little bit about these three, then I will make a little review on this one, what I think about it, is it worth buying even if you don't want to motorize it, and then I will tell you what I'm planning about this. I will put in motors. I will put all the timings so that you can jump the chapters down there in the video description. If you want to motorize your Tumbler, your Batmobile or your ECTO-1, just click on the links in the description and you can get the instructions. These two drive, and this one does not only drive but also opens the roof and the guns. And this one even has suspension. This is the 2021 version of the Batman Tumbler. There are two versions. The other one is 2014. So this one is the LEGO 76240. This is kind of the first set I motorized and the last set. I started with the 2014 Tumbler and this is the 2021 Tumbler, which is actually basically a copy of the 2014 Tumbler with a few more details. Like, for example, they added a window here. What I did here was adding driving motors, of course, a back suspension, and that was the difficult part, a steering mechanism and suspension at the same time. And a retractable roof, just because I prefer that. And I wanted it to be my final version. So I did not only modify the internals, but also some of the outer shapes. Like, for example, that this thing is moving here. That's not possible with the original LEGO version. Christopher Nolan's original Batmobile is a very complex stealth tank with these polygon shapes everywhere. I was never really satisfied how LEGO interpreted them. Especially the sides looked too straight and vertical. Since I was working on the armor for the front swing arms, I wanted to do this right this time. So I also modified the side armor to resemble that polygon stealthy look. And some small details, like around here, the front, they never got that right. And back here, if you know the original set, there are like little bars that are just hanging there somehow. And I wanted it to be rigid because when you drive around, you don't want to lose this, you don't want it to like shake around. Yeah, lights. I'm buying Game of Bricks light kits, and I will show you on the other sets what they look like. This is the light kit for the old Tumbler. They also have one for this new Tumbler, but the new version is very, very fancy. It's like a Christmas tree. I think it's too much. But since they are copies, you can actually buy any of those two. And this one is slightly cheaper. Speaking of cheaper, if you get my instruction, there's always a discount code for the Game of Bricks light kits in there. They send these sometimes just LEDs that you can put somewhere in, or in this case with some bricks already added, so you can just replace the original LEGO bricks in here with those copies. Those wires are really tiny, so you can squeeze them between the bricks. These actually can be put in almost any LEGO model. And Game of Bricks, they have a lot of stuff. There are other companies selling the same tiny wires and tiny plugs and tiny LEDs, but honestly, they're cheapest. And I will show you with the ECTO. Sometimes they're really good. So this is the LEGO 76239 1989 Batmobile from the Tim Burton movies. It has steering, it has a retractable roof, and it has two guns that pop out. I motorized all of that. There are actually 5 motors in there. 1 servo, 2 small ones, and 2 large ones for the drive. But you somehow want to reach the batteries, recharge them, whatever batteries you build in there. And some people want to buy a Boovis, some people want to buy an Sbrick, some people like the old LEGO remotes. And this one has enough space for any of those. I left this area free. This is very important because that's the only point that you can reach just like that. You can just open this hatch and reach in there whatever battery you have in there for replacing batteries or for recharging batteries or switching it on and off. I wanted to have them in the back, not destroy the cockpit. This is the Sbrick. It is a small Bluetooth controller for LEGO Power Functions motors. It has 4 channels, but since you can stack power function plugs, you can control multiple motors over one channel. I did that with the 2 drive motors. The Sbrick has no internal battery. You can plug it into the old Power Functions battery box, of course, but that has only up to 9 volts. I used a lithium polymer battery for remote-controlled cars or drones, since the Sbrick can safely handle up to 11.8 volts, which means more speed. And one reason why I buy the light kits is because they come with these additional features, like flickering lights, for example. I also added an adapter, and with those step-down converters to convert the input voltage down to 5 volts, and this way I can power the LED lights with the same battery that powers the Sbrick. This is the Ghostbusters LEGO ECTO-1 10274 from 2020. This set has the remote controlled version of the light kit, because that also comes with sound, and I wanted to have this. Light kits, Game of Bricks, they produce them. It still fits in there, although there is already a motor in here, a motor down there, and somewhere around here there's a battery box under the seat. This car has the motor that you can see under the hatch. Pull back here, there comes out the RTV, the remote trap vehicle. That's actually a driving ghost trap. You can push out the gunner seat. Gimmicks that I wanted to keep alive and not rip them out and not put stuff in there like a big battery box. That's why I hid the battery box under the seat. The batteries can be reached from below, very important, because you somehow have to reach them, and I think you shouldn't need to take off everything. There was not much space, and I'm telling you that because that is exactly the same thing that will happen with Back to the Future DeLorean. This ECTO-1 is actually a very good set to compare the size to the DeLorean. I think it's something like 1:12 for both sets, something around there in scale. And as you can see, they actually kind of fit in size. And let's start with the windows. When I remember correctly, I got this window. This was a brand new part that appeared the first time in the ECTO-1. And LEGO sent it just with other bricks in one bag. And I think I wrote them. And actually what they did this time is they put this window in a bag with only rubber bricks, and they added foil wrap around it. So you can see it. I left it on because I know that I will take it apart, put it back together, take it apart, put it back together. For now it should stay there to not scratch the windows. LEGO, thank you. Let's go for the DeLorean now. Do I like it? Yes. It looks good. It has some nice features. This is a good size, something you can hold in your hand, and it's not falling apart. That was Doc Brown. Let's start with him. So, this is Dr. Emmett Brown. There's no Einstein. That's a dog. But of course there's Marty MacFly, the protagonist. These minifigures, they're not in scale with the model, but it's cute to have them. They're making these, oh my god, what's going on faces that they make in the movie all the time. But they have changeable faces. You can turn them around like you do with Lego, and then Marty can smile. I'll turn him later because it's not time yet. You know, you have to think 4-dimensional. This is the Back to the Future Part 1 DeLorean. For the time machine part, it has a nuclear reactor. And this nuclear reactor is not like most nuclear reactors using uranium, which is kind of safe, kind of. Nuclear power plants are not safe. There's a lot of nuclear waste that you have to put somewhere for hundreds of thousands of years. Now, no, this one is not using uranium. This is using plutonium, and it has a little plutonium box. And plutonium is the stuff you make weapons of, because when you put a lot of uranium together, it's just a lot of uranium. When you put a lot of plutonium together, it makes boom. And that's called the critical mass. And yeah, so here is your safety plutonium box if you buy plutonium from some shady people. And you can store it. Yes, it has a trunk. You can store it in the trunk. And if you know this car, it has also these special foldable, you know, these doors that flip up like that. This is a DeLorean DMC-12, very iconic car. And the story behind it was actually meant to be a very lightweight car, but then it didn't sell because no one thought that lightweight cars are anyhow important. Welcome to the last century. It was bought by, I think, Italian Design or some Italian car company, and they brought it out and they thought it would be nice to have these doors. Only that these doors and the mechanism is very heavy, so it wasn't a lightweight car after all. Oh, by the way, Italian Design is planning to bring out a new version of this, like an updated 2023 or 24 version. So it has, LEGO has built them in, these nice foldable doors, nice foldable doors, these nice, you see that? Sorry LEGO, that's not right. There is not even the possibility to fix this door. When I put this on a shelf, especially the next version that I will show you, I want one of these doors up. And now I have to figure something out how to make it stay. Okay, it's LEGO, I can figure something out and I will put it in the instructions, but meh. By the way, here you see something that I have changed. The DeLorean has just a small part of the window that you can put down, not the whole window. So the upper part stays where it is and the lower parts can be moved down. There's one other thing I changed, that's a little detail here, but like, I like the details. It's good. It has a proper, it looks as it should. And it does as it should. Oh, and something very nice that I also like is it has these, this is not flat silver, this is metallic silver, which is more silver than flat silver. If you're into LEGO bricks, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, just ignore it. It's supposed to be a time machine, right? And what do we need for a time machine? Exactly, a flux capacitor. That is so important that in the German version they call it a flux compensator because nobody cares. It's that lighting thingy back there that Doc Brown is talking about, and this one actually has a button back here. You see that? It's lighting up. And that's neat, and especially because it comes with a set. But to be honest, on the flux capacitor, between the seats, there's a sticker. And so it's actually shining through the sticker. There are some clear parts where it should shine through, but it's also shining through the printed parts. And it's looking okay, but not really perfect. But I have seen the lighting kit that is going to come from Gang of Bricks, and it looks really good. Of course, they have the front lights, the big front lights here, they have the tail lights. And all these panels here below, when this goes to time jump, they start to glow. And I've already ordered one, I'm looking forward to getting it. Now, if you remember correctly, this time machine takes a lot of, as they call it, gigawatts. This is supposed to be gigawatts. Giga is Greek for billion. And basically they just need a big amount of juice. And in the end of the movie, they don't have plutonium or something broke, so they have to catch a lightning. And you do that with a lightning rod. So, final touch, and ready is your Back to the Future Part 1 DeLorean. And now, let's go back to the future of 2015. One detail that I have already swapped is the license plate. There are actually two license plates. This is the right license plate, but the Back to the Future 2 version has no nuclear power plant. It has Mr. Fusion. And Mr. Fusion is a small portable fusion reactor that was originally made from a coffee grinder. And I know that because it's in the instructions. And that's a very nice feature. Thank you, LEGO. That's a really good idea. They put these little informations about the movie car into their instructions. So while you're building, you can always read it. I was building it during the weekend with my girlfriend, and she was always reading me out these little informations, and it was like, whoa, you're such a geek. That's so cute. In the movie, you can see that their Doc Brown is taking some rubbish and like a banana and a beer can, I think, and pours it in there and throws it in there, and everyone's like, what's going on? And then there's a fusion reactor powering the car. So we rip out the plutonium reactor thing and add our Mr. Fusion. On the DeLorean, and this is with the new license plate, the version of Back to the Future 2. One thing is missing. The hoverboard. That's what we wanted. Smartphones. No, we wanted hoverboards. That's what they promised us. Well, okay, here's your hoverboard. Now you got one. It's a bit too big for Marty to use it. LEGO puts it in the trunk as well. It also fits in there. If you know the movie, then you know it should actually be somewhere on the second seat. And it fits there too. So yeah, Back to the Future DeLorean with a hoverboard. And speaking of hovering, I know you're waiting for that.
Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Let's do it. This is a nice, juicy feeling when you flip them over. Okay, I'm playing. Then there was a third movie. And this third movie was kind of inventing the idea of steampunk. Also, the name was just born many years later, I think. It's the one where they go to the past and then they have to rebuild the DeLorean using the technology of 1900. They're in the Wild West. So it looks like this. And you can put this part, I will again do it for you. You can put this part on top of the hood, but for that you have to take it apart slightly. Then you can fix your DeLorean with this little steampunk gadget here. So I think it was this direction. Voila! Flipping. So they put it on a track, on a railway track, and they used different wheels for that. And it looks more like this. And so there are 4 of these that you can swap for those. And then you have the Back to the Future 3 one, which is probably rather for making it complete for 1, 2, and 3. And the Back to the Future 2 version, I think, is just looking best. But you can decide that. There are a few things that I want to nag about. Colors. So there's this sand blue, and it should be like more like gray, but that's okay. Then we all know that LEGO likes to put in a lot of colors underneath. And I think that's actually a good idea because they are for orientating. There's some white stuff in the front and some red stuff in the back. And you have it while building the whole model. And that's so clever because you always know this is front, this is back, white, red. And there's a lot of other colors. And that's okay as long as you don't see it. But what's this? Why is this brown? Do we need this? I mean, I can just put in some other brick there. And, but no. It's one of those 5 stud brakes that are really rare and really expensive. And what will I do? Either I take one 2-stud brake, not brake plate, and one 3-stud plate, or I will just saw something off. There are some details that aren't as they should be, because in the car there's something more going on here in the front with more lights and stuff. But up here, why is there red? I will swap them out. And I will put this in the instructions too, because maybe you like to, and it's just a few bricks more. But why is it like that? And this is a flying thing. Actually, I had liked to have some more of these clear, sorry, that was the hoverboard, some more of these clear bricks down there to put it like more up. But it looks kind of cool when it's hovering just over the floor. But, you know, when you see it from below, it's just too colorful. Inside, I'm totally fine. This is for the shelf. You put it together, put it on the shelf, and if you need gray bricks, you can buy Star Wars. But something that flies that maybe somebody wants to put like this, or I don't know. Lego, you could have just made it gray. It would have been totally okay. That would look like the red lever here, the one that flips the wheels. It could have been in gray or silver or I don't know what, or black even. And that would just look like the exhaust system or whatever. You can build it within a week and 1 to 3 days. We did it in 1 day, but we were 2. So yeah, it's fun and it's bloody expensive for that. It is. It probably won't get much cheaper than that. Maybe secondhand on eBay one day. I don't know if I would buy it. I don't know. I think I wouldn't. If I wouldn't, I wouldn't. But it's. I like it. I do. Okay. You can decide that, because finally, I want to motorize this. The first thing I usually do is to rebuild the set in Bricklink Studio. This is a LEGO CAD program that can be used to build brick models and make building instructions for them. Then I identify spaces that I can use for motors and the LEGO Technic mechanics. The DeLorean is the smallest LEGO car I ever tried to squeeze motors in. So I will use the new LEGO powered up motors, because the old LEGO power function servo is just too big. For the Bluetooth battery box, I want to use both the small LEGO powered up hub and the Boovis 3, so you can decide which one you want to use. Then I will make a reality check. I build the car from real LEGO and tweak it until I'm sure it works. After that, I will make building instructions for the modification. These instructions never contain any steps that come from LEGO. I do not want to get any IP infringement problems with them. Instead, my instructions contain references to the original instructions when needed. I usually also add information on how to lay out the cables, add the LED light kits, or do the programming. Yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. Leave some comments. Please subscribe, because then you will see, as soon as I have brought out the instructions, I will also put a video here. And like it, and as difficult as it is at the moment, and it's not a joke, enjoy your life. It's the one life you got. And I hope you're safe, and I hope you live in a place where you can play with LEGO. Now you have an idea on how to motorize a LEGO car. Click on one of my other videos for more details on each of the cars. Or browse through my building instructions in the video description below the video.